Cool. No one can hear me. Now they can. Okay. I am live streaming this for the people who want to watch.
Nice.
I don't know why you've been awoken, man. You should go back to bed. It's 8:57, One Arm Billy. It's past your bedtime, my friend. And I got our notes put together. I have you doing the intro, and then I'll do the outro if that's cool.
Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
It's going well.
You are.
Good to hear.
Yeah. You can actually. Do you mind, Manny? Can you turn your gain down a little bit? You're nice and loud.
All right, sure. How about now?
A little bit more.
Yeah.
How about now?
Nick.
That's better. Yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Nick, if you could turn yours up a little bit too.
Is it doing the thing where you can barely hear me again?
But no, it's okay. I mean, like, this is good now.
Okay. I still have some room to boost it if needed. So.
Yeah. No, I think the sound's fine.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll give you guys a second. If you need any time, look over the notes, ask any questions before we jump into it.
Yeah.
All right.
Just reading up. Just double checking some of the battle over Endor ships.
Yeah, is there a way that we can easily access the images of the cards? Are they?
I have them up already in my browser.
Oh, okay.
Battle over Endor, X-Wing.
Here is I'll put a link in chat in Discord.
Thank you.
That has like pictures of all of the spoiled cards.
Let's see Reddit. All right.
But we have everything now, like technically in TTS. In the builders, not just what was spoiled. Yeah. That's in Yasby is probably the easiest way to access. We don't have to talk about everybody, and we don't really need to.
No, it's just the general vibes.
Yeah. Yeah, like we can talk about there's an A-Wing pilot I want to talk about named Gemmer. Where is he? Gemmer Sohan. Don't mess with the Sohan. Who else? We could do one of the B-Wings. I'll look at the B-Wings. Gina Moonsong, Battle over Endor. And then, just to name a couple, Soontir is a good one.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about Soontir, though, for the past 2 episodes.
So let's see, who else? Sapphire 2 we could do. That's a battle. That's an interceptor. I know we've talked about Jendon, but I wouldn't mind talking about Jendon again. We could do Yor and Jendon.
What do they fly?
They're the defenders.
The defenders, yeah. Yeah, we talked about Yor.
There's gonna be way too many Your Mom jokes. Just way too many. Captain Your Mom.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Oh, what is Gina Moonsong in?
She's a B-Wing.
That makes sense. Alright, Gina's more expensive.
But yeah, so I'm good with. I just pulled them up on my end, and I am ready when you guys are.
All right, yeah. I'm.
So does
all
Gina have
set.
juke, but no way to get an evade token?
There's like a link action or an ability or like a chassis ability that allows you to get a evade token.
After you gain a stress token, you may spend 2 charges to gain an evade token. When you drop a device, you may spend a charge to set the template with its middle line aligned with the. Yeah, you could use your side arcs to drop bombs.
That's pretty cool. All right. I am almost ready. All right, I'm going to count down from 5 and then leave the last 2 silent.
Cool.
And I'll go in.
Let's do it.
All right, so we'll go 5, 4, 3. You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast. My name is Andrew.
My name is Nick.
My name is Emmanuel.
And in this episode, we are going to do a dive into game balance, power creep, and the design spaces of X-Wing, and more. So,
yeah, this is gonna be a good one.
yeah, I was going to say,
forward to it.
but just to kick it off, just for here, how is everybody's weekends? Anything crazy happen?
You may dispense with the pleasantries, Andrew. No, I just wanted an opportunity to say that. I'll actually answer the question. I never get to quote Vader saying that. It's great. So
There you go.
my weekend was trying to think about. I had a pretty busy week. It's one of those things where you have a busy weekend and then you forget about everything that you did. But yeah, well, we Friday night we streamed in person. Manny was over, Frankie, Matt. We did 3 games of in-person X-Wing on my place, and then we went out for some.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. How could we? But we did. And that was a lot of fun. My Imperial list is still super broken sometimes, apparently. And
Especially when you know how to fly it.
Yeah, it's true. It helps for sure. We went out for some celebratory drinks after, and then Saturday laid low. Got some takeout at my favorite Italian place by my parents' place. Crashed there for the night, and then Sunday just kind of cleaning up all of the equipment from Friday. That was my weekend. I remembered everything.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you
Always
guys?
successful? Yeah. How about Manny?
Yeah, I mean, Friday is already explained. Saturday just went climbing. Sunday, I swam and had lunch with a couple friends. Basically it. Chill weekend, no complaints.
Nice. No, it sounds great. It's also I'm happy you're able to get out and do the climbing and swimming.
Yeah.
Nice. I can't remember if I mentioned this last week, but I'm an uncle now. And,
You did. You posted in the chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
How's
that's-
that?
Congratulations.
Any,
thanks.
Any uncle wisdom you'd like to share with all of us?
Well,
Technically, I'm also an uncle, so
well,
you're the creepy
yeah, so I
uncle,
guess,
Manny.
yeah.
No doubt.
No, I
forgot that I'm
sure
technically
he's
an
gonna be
uncle, but years ago.
the fun uncle. I was gonna say you have more uncle wisdom than I do. No, they have a boy and he's super cute, and my plan is just to spoil him and be as fun as possible.
Yeah, you got to be the fun uncle for sure. It's a good dynamic. Andrew's the fun uncle. Manny's the creepy uncle. You get both sides of the uncle.
you need one of each. You need one of each, or it's not a true family.
Oh, yeah, always 2 there are. No more, no less. And to quote
Yes.
Yoda, I mean, come on. He's obviously referring to uncles when he talks about that. But that's awesome, man. Congrats. That was a very adorable photo that you
congrats.
shared with our group. So very cute.
Yeah, that's been a lot of fun. And then the second is I went to a record release. One of my friends from college is in a hardcore band called Snuffed, which if you're into like hardcore and metal, they've been taking off pretty big in like Chicagoland area. So that was an absolute blast. And so yeah, you can find their new album on Bandcamp. Just to do a little plug for my friends there.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Nice.
gotta plug your friends for sure.
But it was a great show.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I hope everybody watching live here, because we have our subscriber only Twitch stream going right now, and those who listen to this when it comes out, I hope you all have had a good February. It's winding down. This is the shortest month. That does sometimes feel like the longest, but honestly, guys, I don't know about you, this month has been going by fast, and I think it's because of the weather being actually genuinely great here in Chicago. Today it was in the 50s again.
Yeah, climate change is
real.
It's wild.
Real, but doesn't mean you can't enjoy the after effects of it.
Yeah, we get to in Chicago because it's exactly. Chicago's just going to be like San Diego.
East Coast or West Coast, you're screwed. But here in the Midwest, we just have tornadoes, and even then, they're not that bad.
Dude, at one point, it was warmer here than it was in Los Angeles.
Yes,
in the middle of the day.
Weird sentence to say.
And in Florida too.
That's almost like I can't believe you. There's it's like, how is that possible? Yeah. But yeah, I hope you all have been having a good February and have had a good weekend as you listen to this, because this will come out on Monday. Yeah, it's good to hear. We're all doing fairly well. We're looking ahead to March in the spring, and obviously Worlds at Adepticon in our backyard, and
coming up.
So excited to see all of the people all the friends that I've made through Twitch, playing the game, at events, online, everything, the podcast. It's just all super excited to have everyone.
That's right. Yeah, together. Please come say hi. We'd love to talk to you.
Come say hi. We'll have our World shirts on too. We'll have our Chicago Worlds 2024 shirts on. So won't be hard to miss us.
That's right.
Or will be hard to miss us, rather.
Well, speaking of all of the exciting things like what we're looking forward to in Worlds, something that we've been looking forward to since last World was the Battle of Endor scenario coming out. So that's some of the big news that we have, is now all of the pilots' information is out there. It's up on the builder, so you can start theory crafting lists with them right now.
Yeah, and as someone who's streaming games on our channel and also a part of the draft league, people are playing Battle over Endor. I've gotten a chance to see little glimpses at certain pilots. There's a lot of interesting design spaces being explored and ideas. Some are very good, some are balanced, some are not so balanced, and I'm excited to talk about our impressions of what we're seeing so far.
Yeah, I was going to say this is where we really want to dive into it. So I was wondering, Nick, if we wanted to start with you, what your impressions of the Battle over Endor is currently.
Yeah. So I have a small sample size of data and games that I've watched and streamed, and I have to say that they genuinely seem like a lot of fun. I would say that's one thing, as somebody, the person playing the components, the player themselves will have a lot of fun with almost all of these pilots. There is a lot of abilities and a lot of triggers and a lot to keep track of. And if you take 2, 3, or 4 of those or more in a 5-ship list, for example, it might be overwhelming at first. I think that might be a learning curve that everyone's going to go through, just when you put all these new pilots down, getting used to what you're trying to look out for and what triggers you're trying to catch and make work. But overall, fun, pretty good. I don't know how meta warping it is. You have TIE fighters, you have some interceptors, you have the Falcon in Lando, you have this new Soontir, right, in the interceptor, like I said, and the B-Wings, which I think is the most underrated and exciting aspect of this, is because B-Wings have not been like shadow banned, but like kind of just not really getting played, and I would love to see more of that. I think that's great for the game, so stuff like that I'm on board with. So yeah, that's my TLDR. Fun, interesting, some too good, some that balanced pretty well, I think.
Yeah, Manny, how about you?
I haven't really taken a good look into any of these cards. So,
Manny prepared.
Yeah, straight up. So
if you guys wonder why Manny's not always on,
go through it. This is why. He's
in the doghouse every other recording session.
I'm quickly going through the cards right now.
I'm just kidding.
And boy, do they have a lot of effects.
They do. We'll talk about a few.
Lots of upgrades compared to the Battle of Yavin, and it's a separate league.
I was going to though reiterate, Nick. Yeah, I agree with you that there's a lot of really cool design decisions that they've made. The pilots look genuinely fun, and a couple of them look very pushed. That they were designed to basically be the best in their faction possibly, just right out of the gate. And it's going to be interesting to see how the addition of these ships is going to shake up the meta. So I think it's great that you've already seen some play testing with it already, and that's kind of nice to have that data before it officially releases.
Yeah.
Everybody at home too, I mean, it's going to be out by the time that you listen to this episode, so it's going to even be interesting to see, you know,
hopefully, yeah. I'm not sure what the delays
are like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
maybe
you'll be.
It's at least on tabletop, and people are playing it on streams all the time right now. So we do have that. And shout out to our last episode. You know, we talked about online X-Wing. We had Greg Cash from Nickel City X-Wing on, and we were talking about TTS and Vassal and everything. And I mean, it's a great, you know, tie-in to how helpful that stuff is when you can have access to this content early before you physically get it. You can try it out.
Yeah. So Nick, I know there was a couple of pilots that you really wanted to highlight. Do you want to start with the Rebel faction and dive into that?
Sure, yeah. I talked about, you know, my love for B-Wings and trying to get them a little bit more relevant. I'll do Gina Moonsong, who's a battle over Endor 5-point B-Wing with an extra shield. So it has 5 shields and 4 hull. Same stat line though, 3 attack and 1 agility, 4 hull, 5 shields, and 2 recurring charges with these actions: focus to red barrel roll, target lock, and then also a barrel roll to red target lock and a red reload. Her ability as an I-5 B-Wing is at the start of the engagement phase. If a friendly Braylon Strom ship at range 0 to 2 is stressed, you may acquire a lock. Now, Braylon is the other half of the Battle Over Endor B-Wing release. We can talk about him in a moment, but it's similar to the kind of what you need for the boys, the Backstabber and Mauler, you know, needing a specific pilot nearby, or in their case in their side arc. So at range 0 to 2, if Braylon is stressed, you may acquire a lock. So this is an at the start of the engagement phase trigger.
I was gonna say this reminds me a lot of just the Anakin Obi-Wan effect as well. Yeah,
also has a secondary sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that it does seem like a lot of these new sets have this like paired pilot ability thing going on.
Yeah, and secondary and a primary and secondary pilot abilities, which I think in some cases is a little overwhelming, but we get one with Gina called Gyro Cockpit. After you gain a stress token, you may spend 2 of her recurring charges, or 2 recurring charges, to gain an evade token. When you drop a device, you may spend 1 charge to set the template with its middle line aligned with the hash mark of the base in your side arc. So essentially, what does that mean? That means you can drop a bomb out the side of your ship. That's 3 abilities. Cool. That's 3 abilities for Gina. That they put Gyro Cockpit together with the evade token side and the bomb side as 1, but it is technically 3 abilities for Gina. So, that's wild. Has a few upgrades. It's a trap is a talent. Specific to Battle Over Endor. While defending, if there are more other friendly ships than enemy ships at range 0 to 1, you may re-roll 1 of your blank results. So if there are more other friendly ships than enemy ships at range 0 to 1 of you, so basically having friendlies nearby, you get to re-roll a blank result, which B-Wings, that can be actually kind of helpful, just being 1 agility.
Get a free elusive, Why not?
Yeah. Has juke. We know what juke does while you perform an attack. If you're evading, you change one of the defender's evades to an eyeball result. Has proton torpedoes to hit hard. With her ability, you can actually, or rather with the primary ability with Braylon getting that lock, you can set up double modded proton torpedoes pretty easily.
That's what really struck out to me.
Yeah, and ion bombs is the last, so you can drop ion bombs out the side. Or drop it behind like usual. So that's Gina. Andrew, do you want to do? I didn't mention it, but can you do Braylon's just to kind of complete that?
Yeah. I can go over Braylon too. So Braylon is at I4 instead of I5 and is 4 points. Gina's 5, so the combo together is 9 points. And Braylon's ability is at the start of an engagement phase. A friendly Gina Moonsong is at range 0 to 2 is stressed. You gain a focus token. And then after you gain a stress token, you can spend 2 charges to gain an evade token. It's the gyro cockpit, the same as Gina's. While you drop device, you can spend 1 to do it out the side, the middle line. So same gyro cockpit ability, but it's the other half of that stress equation. So a little easier to get that focus token, because you can do a barrel roll into a red lock, or you can even do a reload. But let's talk about what else is on. Also, like Gina has, it's a trap. Sorry about that. Which is the friendly ships are at range 0 to 1. Reroll one of your blank results. Instead of the ion bombs, he has proton bombs, which is really good. And then also has homing missiles. So you can spend a charge, declare the defender. They can choose to suffer a damage and skip the attack and defense step. Otherwise, if they choose not to do that, you get to roll 4 dice at them. And then also has delayed fuses. So if you drop or launch a bomb, you can place a fuse marker on it. So that might make dropping those proton bombs out the side a little more interesting. You have a better position to drop them in.
Yeah. Besides, it's a trap. The everything else are upgrades we already know and have already existed, which is kind of hard. Like likens back to Battle of Yavin, where they didn't really do too much in terms of new upgrades. At least with these two specifically, it's a trap on here.
Yeah. We'll get into when we talk about Empire and stuff like later. A lot of the TIE fighters have the same thing going on. They're basically just like Battle of Yavin. They're all old abilities. There's not really too many new things there.
Yeah, it seems like the Rebels benefit from more new stuff, like Lando specifically. Soontir also does have that stuff too, but we talked about Soontir in the last episode.
And then it seems like a lot of the Rebels have It's a Trap. So this is kind of like the Siege over Coruscant Wolfpack ability.
It's much more widely. It's a widespread. It's for it seems like every Rebel pilot I think has It's a Trap.
They all It's a Trap.
It's Manny, do you want to cover our A-wing friend? His name is Gemmer or Gemmer. I don't know how people are going to pronounce this.
Yeah,
Sohan.
Yeah, I was going to say. Before we moved on, did we want to talk about like the Gina Moonsong Braylon combo? Do we think that
just in terms of that's 9, you said 9, like you said 9 points. That's just like the same issue with B-Wings now, beside outside of these two, is you're investing a serious amount of points into things that get hit by plasma torpedoes and get halved immediately, and that is half your list. As you said,
this to me feels like a combo that was really made for the Battle over Endor scenario, where it's really powerful, but this is what you want to put in a list that you have 35 build points with. However, I think that even without that first ability, Gina Moonsong is just good on her own. I did forget to mention Braylon also has the shield upgrade as well.
Oh, they both have it.
So at 4 points, Braylon also might be.
Yeah, I would take Braylon.
Just isn't. Just Braylon's pretty good.
How does Braylon again? 4?
4 points for an I4.
Yeah.
Okay.
9 hit points.
The proton bombs are good. 3 attack dice out the front. I think though that the proton torpedoes and the higher initiative might. Yeah. 5 is a lot of points.
And juke as well. Unfortunately, homing missiles are one of the worst missiles or just munitions in the game still. Yeah, that just is.
Yeah, no, they are.
They're terrible.
Gina has the ability to have a focus evade or a target lock evade with a potential reroll. So yeah, I mean, I think the survivability that even gives you is good enough.
Yeah.
For Gina. But
Protorp and Juke combo is really punishing when you're shooting at something that took a scenario action.
yeah, oh god, yeah.
It's very.
Should I play the objective?
It's like,
well,
you made a mistake.
That's on you, buddy.
Yeah.
How dare you try to play the objective?
Gina's gonna get some people.
Yeah. Good call pointing that out. Addressing the viability of the two together is very questionable, but I would certainly either of them isolated on their own in a list is certainly, I think, worth trying for sure. With the extra health, there's a lot of efficiency built into them. With being able to stay alive with evades is nice. They could still lock.
And I mean, just talking about an Alpha Strike, like they have an ability if they are together though, even though it's pricey at 9 points, you are looking at a focus lock.
Yeah.
Alpha Strike shot.
Yeah.
At least with 7 die.
Just with what I've been playing recently, I just think about starter set Vader firing an ion missile at one of these things and just making them so sad immediately because they'll lose their locking and get ionized.
You'd need that, yeah, sure. But I mean, you can only shoot at one of them. So you ionize Gina, but you're still taking focus lock shot from Braylon.
Yeah. Braylon being I4 is a little bit more vulnerable in terms of ion and plasma torpedo tech are very strong in the game right now. Jamming as well. Those are three things that B-wings just can't really get away from because they're just not very. They don't have the maneuverability and the high initiative to compensate for that. So those are the biggest things that would obstruct their contributions to a list.
Yeah.
But
yeah, just wanted to bring that up before we move on to
for sure. Mr.
Gemmer.
Sohan, let's do it, Manny. Who is Gemmer? What initiative? All that good stuff. What does he got?
Yeah, so he is in an A-wing. He is initiative 2. Typical stats of a A-wing. There's no extra shields, so 2 hull, 2 shields. Effect is while defending, you may gain 1 strain token and change 2 of your blank results to a I result.
Up to 2.
Yeah, up to 2. The chassis ability is just vectored cannons. Essentially, perform a red boost or rotate turret action in the system phase. And should I just go over the upgrades as well? It's a trap.
Yeah, we know what It's a Trap does, but chaff particles and his target assist algorithm are 2 interesting.
Yeah, precision tuned cannons, that's a new one, correct? That's a new type of cannon?
Yes, and precision tuned cannon as well. Yeah, that's also new.
Alright. Effect, if the defender's your bullseye, add 1 Arbor Assault, a 2 attack, no, a 2 die attack, range 2 to 3. Chaff particles, while defending, you may spend 1 Arbor Assault at the end of neutralize assault step to remove 1 red or orange token. So mention like flares for a jet, I guess. And target assistant algorithm, which before you engage, before you engage, if you have no green tokens and there are 1 or more enemy objects in your front arc, gain a calculate token.
Nice.
Yeah, hard to kill is the kind of the bottom line. Maybe not doing a lot of damage, but a 3-point A-wing that is going to be a lot harder to kill with an ability like that. Being able to change your blank results to eyeball results. It's the one reason why A-wings die fast is when they blank out.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, guaranteeing yourself at least, against one of that is really good.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, there are a few pilots in Battle Over Endor that I've noticed that are like, they're priced like fairly, but they don't have they have more defensiveness to them. But in the way X-Wing is now competitively with the damage race, you just don't see how you can make it work where they would be a part of your list and you can count on them to deal damage. There's just I think Sohan is one of those that is maybe a better objective player.
That is exactly what I see Sohan doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's for objectives, because also you have that ability where if you are off, doing uh objective things, like you can do the vectored cannons, or you can do the boost if nobody is like shooting at you. If you take like that stress action, then you can spend that focus token and go do something else again.
Yeah, it's
I guess honestly this is one where like the vectored cannons, actually vectored cannons are probably fine. I do like, the one thing I do like that gives it a little more punch is, you're not going to get a bullseye arc that often, but I like the idea that so I mean, precision tuned cannons, if you end up having a bullseye for whatever reason, it's nice you can add that focus result if you have that focus. Gives a little more offensive output. But even if you spend your focus on defense, when you go to engage, you at least get a calculate token back. So no matter what, even if you're using it on defense, you're still able to utilize some mods on offense.
Yeah, exactly. Just being at I2, he just has to wait a little while to get there. But again, I think he's going to be widely ignored unless you have no other choice who to shoot at. It's just like, ugh, unless I have 3 or 4 shots into it, I'm just not even going to take a shot.
It's not even worth it, right?
Yeah,
initially, yeah,
exactly. We can, but overall, like we've already talked about, Lando and some of the other Rebel pieces, but I think this is a good flavor as to maybe the unsung, maybe not heroes, but just like, let's call them heroes. The underrated, under discussed, some of the pilots that we might see people tinker around with. I'm not sure how much of Braylon and Gina together we'd see maybe at Worlds, for example, but I think Gemmer will find a place, and maybe in place of a Keo or a Wedge in the A-Wing, we might see Gemmer instead. I think he would be really solid, part of a Rebel list. And overall, I think the Rebels have scenarios. These seem to be built a lot more for the scenario.
Yeah, we'll talk about like later in the episode on some of where we think the design ideas are going. But just as a preview for that, I feel like the design looks like they want to make Rebels the scenario faction.
Yeah, and on the other side of it, we have Empire, who I feel like is built with much more of a damage dealing mindset, which is thematic because the Empire rules with an iron fist. It's about intimidation and stuff. But in the game of X-Wing, this again, well, like Andrew said, we'll allude to more of this later in the episode. But how does that all come together as a cohesive balance when you have these scenario packs, when one is more defensive and more objective based and for the scenario, and the other one can more freely play successfully in a competitive environment? I think Empire comes out on top in that regard in terms of damage potential. We got 2 new Defender pilots we'll talk about. We got Soontir, we discussed in our last episode, who is wild. I mean, what he can do is crazy. He can, basically just kind of do whatever he wants. And I think something that everyone was talking about a lot was Jendon, and worth, I think, discussing again. A 7-point defender. The TIE defenders, I think, always kind of been one of the most interesting and one of the coolest ships in Star Wars and an X-Wing. But power creep and balance is a fear that developers have with this ship in this game. Mm-hmm. What were you going to say, Andrew?
Oh, no, I was going to say I've always loved the Defender. That was one of the first ships that I've flown. Flew it my first tournament ever.
Yeah, was it
2.0?
Who was it that you were playing? The I-5? What's his name? Rexler Brath.
Yeah, doing Rexler Brath.
Rexler. Every breath you take, Mr. Rexler. Yeah, he's solid. But Jendon, so we have the only I-6 Defender pilot right now. Before Battle over Endor is Vader, and Vader is probably, with that ability and that chassis, is worth the 9 points. He has to be priced that way because he's so good and hard to kill. Yep. Jendon is now the second I6 defender, which is a little scary when you just dive into all of the things that he can do. He's 7 points at I6. He has the same stat line, 3, 3, 3, 4. So 3 attack, 3 agility, 3 hull, and 4 shields. He has a couple of different actions than what we're used to seeing on a defender. Yeah. A regular defender has a focus, evade, target lock, and barrel roll boost, all white actions. Colonel Jendon has a focus, evade, link, red barrel roll, target lock, and target lock, barrel roll boost. So he has a linked action in there, evade, link, red barrel roll. His ability is while you defend, if you are not shielded, you may change one of your blank results to an eyeball result. So the more damage you deal to him, the more defensive he's going to start to get, which is very interesting for a defender. Yeah. It's not really what you love to see on a TIE Defender pilot at I6, but that's something that he can do. And then he has Chiss Engineering. So instead of full throttle, which is what makes them so tanky, full throttle was after you fully execute a speed 3 to 5 maneuver, you may perform an evade action. Chiss Engineering, excuse me, after you fully execute a speed 3 to 5 maneuver, you may perform a target lock action. While attacking, if you are not stressed, you may spend 1 shield to apply the range 1 bonus. So you can blow his shields to trigger the first part of the ability. He can roll 4 attack dice at range 2 to 3 if he spends his shields. And he also can use it paired with his proton cannon to fire a 5 dice proton cannon. He has a talent called No Escape, which is new. While you perform a primary attack, if there are more friendly ships than other enemy ships at range 0 to 1 of the defender, you may re-roll one of your blank results. So swarm your opponent, basically, that ship that you're shooting at with your ships.
This is the inverse of that. It's a trap.
Yeah, it literally is.
Very thematic there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're also turning off their it's a trap ability for rebels.
Yeah.
One good thing to note, though, it does say primary attack.
Only primary.
So you don't get that with the proton cannon.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You won't need to. You have a lock anyway.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, so he has ways to do a 3 to 5 maneuver focus target lock, but it gets better because he has Push the Limit, which is a kind of likens back to 1.0 upgrade. It's a talent. After you fully execute a red maneuver or perform a red action, if you are not strained, you may gain 1 strain token to remove 1 stress token. So because their dial has hard turns of the 1 and 2 variety that are red, and also a 2K that's red, he can, if in a safe position, to get rid of that stress and replace it with a strain. So he opens up his dial. Potentially.
Yeah, and can still take actions.
Yeah. And lastly, this is the one that I think makes it scary with the proton cannons, and the ability is he has computer assisted handling. It's a 1 charge single use, so that's good at least. It's after you fully execute a maneuver, you may spend 1 charge to perform a boost or barrel roll action. So you can target lock, focus, and then barrel roll or boost all at once. To line up the shot that you desire.
Yeah,
that's pretty gross.
I mean, honestly, it takes away most of the downsides of a defender.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like if you're in a bad spot, you have a way to always get out of it.
You're I6, yeah.
I mean, it's scary. It is a lot. There's so much damage potential, but at the risk of him taking a lot of damage at the same time. So you will have to lean on your dice variance or Palpatine Force to bail him out, because he's how often is he gonna actually want to spend his shields? If he's not getting shot at, it's worth it every time to at least spend one, at least once in a game to do it.
He's so maneuverable though. Like at I6, like it feels like he can get out of, almost. Yeah, I will say, I was building some lists with him, and the good news with the game, the way the game is in scenarios, the good news is it's going to be hard to build a good 5-ship list with him. You really are stuck with 4-ship options, and it's asking a lot out of him. Yeah, because
a lot.
I feel like
7 points.
If you're taking Jendon, you're probably not taking Vader. Like, you're doing this instead of.
At least, yeah, I mean, you're definitely not taking the Defender Vader. I mean, you could argue the
Well,
6-point
no. I mean,
Vader.
sure,
maybe.
but now, I mean,
That's
you're
13 points, though.
That's 13 points. You're locking yourself into I mean, it's going to be fine. It'll be a good list, but you're really locking yourself into like a 4 list, or maybe everybody else is going to be kind of mediocre.
Yeah, it's so that's the good news, because it's terrible for scenarios. If you could bring like you could do Jendon Vizier with Palpatine, that's 11 points, and then you could do Soontir, that's 16, and then another 4-point. But again, it's just not that good. It's gonna salvage. It's not gonna be able to do salvage. It's not gonna do well at assault. Scramble is a toss up. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the good news, is that defenders are already kind of hard to play with right now, and he slots in at that 7 points that people probably just still prefer to take Rear Admiral Chirnu instead. And, or Morna Key.
But this is where I'm thinking that we honestly, even though Jendon is really good, we might be seeing more Captain Yor on tables.
Yeah, that's a great segue. So let's should we throw that over to you, Andrew, if you want to talk about the other Defender pilot, Captain Yor?
Sure, I would love to. So Captain Yor, this was the first one that piqued my interest, because seeing a 6-point Defender, this is the cheapest Defender right now in the game. So Yor is an I4 only, but has this regular stat line, the 3 hull, 4 shield, 3 defense, 3 attack die, and has the pilot ability. After you perform a primary attack that hits, you can spend 1 charge. He has 2 non-reoccurring charges to perform a bonus cannon attack. And then, like Jendon, also has the Chiss Engineering. After you fully execute speed 3 to 5 maneuver, you can perform a target lock action, and while attacking, if you're not stressed, you can spend a shield to apply the bonus.
The range 1 bonus, yeah.
The range 1 bonus. Also has no escape, just like Jendon and like Soontir Fel in this set. Why perform a primary attack? If there are more friendly ships than other enemy ships at range 0 to 1 of the Defender, you can re-roll a blank result. He has an ion cannon, and so that's the bonus attack that you're going to be doing with him. And then he has Predator, so cares about that bullseye to re-roll that die, and has computer-assisted handling like Jendon as well. After you execute a maneuver, you can spend 1 to perform a boost or barrel roll action.
The bonus ion cannon attack after it hits is so nasty. Oh my gosh,
really nasty. So I mean, the good news is at I4, this Yor is probably not going to be jamming off like target locks or doing anything better, but basically guaranteeing where the ship that you just shot at is going to be next turn is going to be huge for you lining up that Predator bullseye shot.
Yeah. I will say, though, Andrew, him being at I4 means that you're way more likely. People are going to have to make a very tough decision about spending their tokens when he can take shots at you, because you spend your token. He's like, great, I'm going to shoot you first. It hits, great. And then I'm going to ionize you as well. The spike damage potential is wild.
Yeah, that's for sure, too. He has the ability to spend his shields. Probably not going to be doing it as much as Jendon, just because at I4 it's going to be a lot easier to catch Yor. And Yor doesn't have the the defensive power of that like evade token that the defenders usually get. But free target lock is still pretty good. He also, I forgot to mention, like Colonel Jendon, also has the same evade into red barrel roll linked action as well.
Yeah, Captain Yor, 6 points, same price as Vader. You could pair him and Vader together. That's 12 points, and you have 8 points still to play with.
Yeah, and this is where I think 12 versus 13 points is a huge difference in Empire on what you can take with you. Because with 12 points, you can basically take 2 more 3-point ships. Right, because at 12, 18, and then you can take a TIE fighter.
Yeah.
And then that's a pretty decent, 5-point list. You can still take the other I5s, or you could do a really beefy 4-point list.
Yeah, 4-ship list. Yeah,
if you really wanted, list, yeah. Or 4-ship list. Yeah, but I think that you can even do your Soontir, the boys, and then
the boys,
and then a TIE fighter. So I think that being 1 point less gives a lot more buildability and potential, even though your is going to be an I4 and I5 is really the signpost initiative right now. But defenders are just really good. And this is no exception to that rule.
Yeah, I'll always have been. Just you can't price them too cheap because they break the game, and they've always been.
I mean, that's honestly what it is.
Yeah, which is good. I don't think I want to see everybody playing a TIE defender all the time. It's nice when you see it.
I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like the option to put a TIE defender in my list, though.
Yeah. 6 points you could.
Yeah, and it's I think that this is actually pretty fair at 6 points, and taking away that free evade token is pretty big.
Yeah, and I'm just doing a wellness check on our friend Manny, who is still alive. Just throw it over to you. What do you think of these two?
Oh, of these two defenders? I mean, yeah, as a person who doesn't really fly Empire, I am curious to see how much of a splash they're gonna do.
Someone who flies against a lot of Empire.
Yeah, you sure do.
Oh, that's true.
What do you feel? How do you feel about sitting on the opposite side of the table?
Gotcha. I mean, Colonel Jendon, it'd be scary, but I mean, the large factor is, who are his friends next to him? If it's like a 4-ship list with Colonel Jendon, I'll feel like all right about it. I'm pretty confident even. But Captain Yor in a 5-ship list, I could see him being a bit threatening. So learning how to defend against that is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I feel like Jendon is a ship that is going to have to earn its keep. Like if you're putting Jendon into your list, you really want him to basically be the same as 2 ships, or at least be able to take out 2 ships, to make his worth on this sit on the table.
And everyone's gonna go after him too,
unless you have another beater, like if you have Jendon and Soontir, you gotta give a reason to split the focus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the only way I think you can take Jendon down is to go all in. But if you do burn him down, then your opponent's game's pretty much over already.
Right.
That's the downside of flying a 7-point ship or higher, is that when you lose it, it's almost always game over. Always game over.
And that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen too many defenders in the current meta.
They're a little predictable with the 3 to 5 speed triggers, whether it be full throttle or Chiss engineering. And when they're stressed, it's they're like, oh well, you're gonna go fast, you're gonna go straight. You almost always know when they're gonna do a white 4K. So that's the other downside with defenders, is I think in the right hand someone can do very well with them, but they can be very predictable. What they're doing.
This is why I'm actually really happy to see that computer assisted handling. And even push the limit on Jendon, is that really kind of takes away a level of predictability, especially if you get everybody scrummed up at the middle of the board. I think the ability for them to not pay the consequences from that 1 or 2 hard is going to make them a little less predictable, and raises the skill level on flying them a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure. So, before we move on, do you guys see this as being meta warping, as completely shifting the way things are now with what's popular, like triple arcs, Boy Luke, Han, or Lando now? Do you see this making a huge shakeup, or what do you think?
For Empire, I feel like the only ship that might shake things up, actually 2, is Captain Yor and Sinterfell. I'm not sure about the bombers, but at least for the ties, I am having a hard time trying to think why you would choose them over Backstabber and Mahler, because if you're not flying the I6 Defender, Cardinal Agendan, you're probably flying Vader. And if you're already flying Vader, why would you choose any other tie except for those two? And just, take a look at the other ties. I don't think they can compete.
Yeah, the other ties
Rebels, I can see.
What do you think, Andrew? Meta shaking, warping?
No, I don't think it's meta warping. I do think it's going to give more options for Empire to play. I think we're gonna see I think we're gonna see more varied Empire lists. So I think it's gonna be shaking in terms of we're going to start seeing more Captain Yours. We might see less double decimator lists. Because you have an option to go a little acier. Like, I think that now there is a the Empire, to me, feels like it is becoming the ace faction now. That this is where you're going to start seeing like heavy hitting I6s. I think it's going to give a reason for all the other factions to make sure that they have at least one I6 in their list, because you might have to be matched up with a Genin and a Soontir in one list, and you have the issues you had in 2.0 when you were flying against Republic aces, where halfway through the game you might not be able to catch them ever again. So I think that it's going to be meta shifting in that way.
I feel like if that's the case, it definitely puts a couple factions even further back. Like a good example would be CIS, right? If you need an I6 in your list, what I6 do they have?
Django.
Okay, yeah, but like,
is Sunfac I6?
Sunfac's not very favored these days with all the ships out there. Yeah, I would say this might be more meta warping once we get a full points change. I don't think right now that they're gonna do too much, but it does clarify the way the Empire has even more high initiative to deal with now, and like you said, just they've been leaning into the high initiative for a while, and they have more options. We'll see how they utilize it, but it does tie into the next. Oh, God.
Oh, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Scythe 6, the BOE, which is an I2 TIE fighter, which has an extra hull, and is doing an FO thing, where when you perform an attack at range 1 to 2, you can roll an extra die. So it's a 3-die I2 3-point TIE fighter.
Isn't it perform an attack at 2 to 3 you get an extra die, or is it just range 1?
It's 1 to 2. So basically he has like an extra a heightened range 1. But that's like FO has been kind of the cheating extra die attacks for me. So I think that we might see maybe some Scythe 6 just being a 3-tie or
another extra attack die.
Yeah, extra attack die.
Yeah.
Also has a focus has a barrel roll into red evade linked action, which is interesting.
Yeah, lots to explore. We don't, I wish we could go into everything.
I just
but
wanted to give just a shout out for just some I like cross faction bending stuff. Yeah. But we can move on.
So we talked about how some like you said, are being more pushed. And I want to talk about just the overall nature of power creep, and that's I think a saying that people throw out there sometimes. I want to know how you guys define power creep. I'll ask Manny first. Manny, what's your definition of that? Your own.
It's always a hard thing to define, but it's easy to point out once you see it, right? if I had to give like a definition, I would say new cards that come out that make previous previously existing cards pretty redundant or just straight up unused. So I don't know, a quick example would be all of the ties that are in like the standard loadout category have that extra hull and all these other abilities that I can't see why you would choose like build your own tie over a standard loadout tie. So that's something that I believe is a type of power creep.
Okay.
I'll let Andrew.
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah.
No, I would agree with that definition. Yeah, it's that the new product is making previous versions or older versions obsolete.
Yeah, I would say that to add to that, to me, power creep is when something emerges as such an ideal and obvious choice that even if everything else is still good, it's you are making a mistake in not using the ideal and obvious choice.
Yeah, I mean that's a big part of it.
Yeah. So this will just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg of this kind of conversation we're going to have about just game design, balancing the precedent that's set with introducing certain things you can do into the game that maybe we haven't seen before, and it's always, the intention is always good behind putting it into the game. It's to freshen things up and make things different and feel more unique, but sometimes it can start an avalanche. It's like the first pebble to start an avalanche. Some games have died because of these sorts of power creepy things that emerge that just kind of start a cascading effect that fundamentally breaks the game and gets people to leave. This has nothing to do with my opinion on how I think the game is now. I don't think there is a lot of power creep in X-Wing right now, but I do think that there is more than I expected to see maybe a year ago. But I don't worry about it that much. I just think that it's becoming a little bit more apparent than maybe we had been dealing with a year ago, for example. And so for you guys, I'll ask another question. What is the tipping point for you personally when a game gets too unbalanced? How long would you, where do you draw the line? General, I'm just talking about gaming in general here, not maybe X-Wing specifically, but when would you walk away from a game because of this kind of thing?
Ooh, Andrew, I'm gonna let you answer that first.
Sure. Yeah. I honestly, for this, I mean, I would walk away when it would get, just too boring. I'm someone who, I switch around which factions I play. I like new things, but I also like a lot of variety in the lists I play, and I want to see, a meta that has a lot of like those lists. If it gets so broken, as to what I've heard with like some of the things in 1.0 where there's, for each faction there is one definitive way to build that faction, and if you don't do it that way, then you're wrong and you're going to pay for it. Or when you get to a point where like there's one or or maybe three lists that are all rock paper scissors with each other, but those are the only three great lists, but then they all counter each other. So basically tournaments are decided by your matchup.
I feel that Andrew kind of put my opinion into words better than I can. I mean, if you're a scum or a CIS player, how have you not already quit the game? Honestly. Like,
because you want to prove everybody wrong, that you're the one who can figure it out.
I mean, he makes a point when he says that. It's more of a joke, but there's some sentiment behind it that I could understand.
Yeah, right.
No, I have
a friend Lloyd who is a pure scum player, all like through and through, and he has just kind of lost his passion in the entire game. And honestly, I can't blame him. I mean, if like I only play T70s, and if we ever enter like a format where T70s are not viable anymore, I'm out.
Yeah.
I mean, X-Wing, in my humble opinion, is not like, in terms of its mechanics, it's not a great game, but like I like the flying aspect.
It's a,
Like,
it's a simple enough game
fun.
in a lot of ways.
I wouldn't say that it's like a well-designed game.
What, X-Wing?
Yeah.
Oh. So,
That's. I feel
I disagree with you there.
I feel like it's a future podcast. I feel like that's a discussion for a future podcast.
It's not. It's a I think it's a very well designed game. I just don't think it's a. I just don't think it's a very good competitive game when you put every factor into what makes like competitive X-Wing like matchups.
I can get behind that. Actually, I think it's a better way of putting it. Actually,
Well, the Fly Better guys even said, like, shout out to D-Yoon and Ryan Farmer. Like, they mentioned that ultimately X-Wing is not it's not really a very balanced competitive game when you incorporate all the ways that you can win or lose your games in a tournament, versus some other more popular competitive games that people play. But
yeah, I think it's hard. I think it's hard to balance.
It certainly is with 7 factions, although technically there are 6 if you don't count Scum. We're almost at that point where we almost don't even count Scum.
Yeah, because I will say, like, you are walking that line where, yeah, like, not only does it have to be a tournament game, but it also has to be thematic as well.
Sorry.
So where those factions are, doing things that feel like, flying for those factions would do.
Yeah, I mean,
with 7, it's tough.
Yeah, so just to go into specifics, about like why competitively X-Wing to me isn't like the best, and this you should take solace in this as all those competitive players, is that X-Wing is right now, specifically on the forefront of things, is heavily influenced by scenario packs and specific factions getting now 2 factions getting 2 of them now. They're getting new stuff, they're getting good stuff, they're getting cheap stuff, efficient stuff. Others are not. Resistance, Scum, Separatist, and First Order are not benefiting from that. That's 4 out of 7 factions. Or I guess Separatists, you could say Siege of Coruscant, right? But it's not to the extent the Republic has benefited from it.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. The other thing is just pure matchups. There are just some lists that you play or that you'll play against that are like really good at like that one scenario, or like really like you have bullseye mechanics and like prockets, like, oh, a large base on the other side of the table, and then you go up against aces and you're like, man, I mean, I'm making all the right moves and choices, but my opponent simply has perfect information and is reacting to everything I'm doing.
Right, or you're going up against the one Separatist list or the FO list that turns everything into crits. So like picking up crates is, why even do it?
Yeah.
You play against a bunch of X1s on salvage. Ugh.
And then there's just the dice aspect, which is one of the best parts about X-Wing, because it just kind of makes the randomness of like, oh yeah, just because you have a range 1 double modded shot doesn't mean you're gonna get the kill. Doesn't mean you're gonna get 4 hits or 5 hits. Like, but you get diced. Yeah. You get diced sometimes. Like your opponent will roll out of everything, and you just be like, man, I can't buy any average variance in this game. It's just not working out.
Sucks to suck, I guess.
Well, yeah. I think that little bit of variance is important. Like that's the reason why I love X-Wing over chess, is that X-Wing, the more skilled player will probably still all like win, but the variance smooths it over just a little bit so that people who are almost as good still have a chance of winning and still have a reason to play like those games out in tournaments and things.
The other thing that I mean, just the last of the many factors, just want to really make this point clear, is the way they approach to the game. There's a lot of people who play this game because they love Star Wars, for example, and they're playing Han or Luke or Vader, or who are all good, obviously still, or just like let me use a less Merrick or something, Lebo, because it's their favorite character. They're more casual about it, and so when you take the people who love the game and want to play it at tournaments, but they have a more casual approach to it, pit it up against the people who net list and who are purely looking at data and statistics and probabilities, there's already a rift in terms of balance, because people have chosen to approach the game competitively in various ways, which I think is overall something I like about it. It's not a complaint by any means, but it's just there's a lot of things that affect balance in this game, and I just don't think, ultimately, with all of that said, I just don't think that the game is a great balance competitive game in terms of total global balance, especially right now when multiple factions are almost unplayable competitively, like winning tournaments type competitive. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, I would agree that there's a lot of factions that for sure need help.
Yeah. But we don't have to dive down that rabbit hole. But let's talk about what it's what's become apparent now. We've been with Atomic Mass Games for a while. We've been able to see, I've heard firsthand, being able to have an awesome conversation with them about the way they see the game, what they're passionate about, the direction they're trying to take the game, and how they look at designing things. I guess I can just I'll start. Like, I think Atomic Mass Games is really, their emphasis is on the more casual thematic nature appeal of X-Wing, improving on that side of it, because the game has always had a good competitive scene. I think they're trying to add more features around scenarios, more pilots that feel thematic and fun, to build out the narrative side of Star Wars X-Wing, to feel like a more complete game where you can buy it at the game store and play it at your apartment without a mat on your kitchen island, or you can take it to the game store and play in a tournament. They want to appeal to every gamer who could touch this game, and I think we're seeing some unintended consequences of certain designs becoming very good in competitive play, and then we're seeing some that are designed exactly as they want it to be. That's the way that I see their priorities with the game. I'm curious how you guys see it. I know maybe I'll start with Manny, because I know Manny has some takes and opinions on this.
Okay, so I guess where do I start? I mean, yeah, AMG definitely wants us to play more of like the named pilots, the more famous pilots. I think they like the fact that there's like a Luke and a Darth Vader in almost every Rebel and Empire list. Yeah, they're trying to broaden their appeal. Even I personally believe perhaps at the cost at the current core base. I find there to be less of an emphasis on just list building. I mean, specifically in terms of like building your own ships with upgrades. There's definitely been an emphasis on these center loadout cards, which me personally am not too crazy about. I'm a fan on how it's able to bring new people into the game, but in terms of the competitive aspect, not that much of a fan. But yeah, I think I rambled enough. I will throw it to you, Andrew.
Yeah, I would agree that they are pushing more towards the fun design aspect of it, making some of these named pilots feel really special and awesome and cool. And they are, very cool. I see that now with the Battle of Endor, more than anything, I feel like AMG has an idea of what they want the Rebel and the Empire factions to look like and how they want them to play in a casual but also in a tournament scene as well. So I feel like they're at the point where they are figuring out the identity for for some of these factions and how they want tournament play. I don't think it's at the expense of a new player base though, and I don't think it's at the expense of like the casual players. The one thing that I do feel is shifting this a bit is like, the same thing where it's a company that makes this game, and at the end of the day they want to sell product.
Yeah.
And so they are, like a long time ago on an interview that I heard with Play Better, they mentioned things like, the standard cards that are going to be coming in the core set, like people won't need to buy the core set if they already own all the ships. And then they come out with like one Vader that's better than
they're literally called
else.
Pay to Win Vader is the nickname for it. Yeah.
Yep.
So you are going to see like in the initial like spoilers for Battle of Endor came out, and it was like, they came out with like Lando and Soontir, and you're like, whoa, these pilots are pushed. Everything else seems pretty normal and tame, considering it, which is what I kind of thought was like they have like, it seems like every set they're coming out with, there's going to be a big reason to buy it.
Yep.
And that's been kind of the design philosophy that's moving forward. So
yeah,
which I would be okay with if it was shared amongst all of the other factions, right? Like if you're playing a power creep, don't just do favorites. Like at least try to do it amongst all of the other factions.
I agree with that. It's hard because a great point. It is a business. They're trying to push certain things to sell product. The frame of reference we have is obviously Fantasy Flight Games when they handled X-Wing because they created it. And Fantasy Flight was always the way that they looked at the game and brought in new product and made, adjustments and erratas and all that stuff was much more on the competitive gameplay. Like they only cared about how things were faring at the highest level, and then it would trickle down all the way to those who played it casually. But they looked at the data. They cared very much about specific interactions and just basically looking at it from more of like a numbers perspective. And AMG is much more of a story-based company. They're more about the experience, the playing, the flying the Star Wars ships around. FFG was more about the mechanics and about the specifics and maybe more the details. I'm not saying that one is superior than the other, but it's a fact that Fantasy Flight Games had a very different idea of what X-Wing was, and AMG has a different idea of what X-Wing is and should be moving forward. And you can coexist with a still detail-oriented but now thematic and narrative-based game, and that's where Atomic Mass Games is trying to take it. It's very clear that they very much more of a fan about just like, hey man, you're playing a Star Wars game with these cool painted ships. You're dogfighting. You've got objectives and satellites, and FFG was like, we tried scenarios and they didn't work, so just dogfighting. It's like that was the way they were.
Yeah, I will say that AMG definitely has a way on how this game should be played. And I don't want to say it's like it's either my way or the highway, but it definitely did feel as if when 2.5 came out, it felt as if they told us that we were kind of playing the game wrong.
It's always going to be a polarized. I know that if they were to
polarizing, then it'll be Because I was
they would have rephrased. They would have the wording was bad. Like them flat out saying that people didn't know what the objective of the game was is just a false statement. That's not what they meant though. I know that's ultimately they didn't mean it that, but like you got to not say it that way because it does piss people off. It's like, this is a dogfighting game. You're shooting at other ships and trying to destroy them. That's the objective of the game. And so they got so much flack, so much heat for that, and things have obviously calmed down a lot. But it's one of those things where I think a lot of people felt very threatened because it's like, hey, we're taking literally everything, including list building, and we're flipping it upside down and changing everything. And
it was a big change.
It was a big change
because X-Wing 2.0 was extremely different compared to the games under their umbrella. Ah, God, my bad.
There it is again. That's like strike 25. Exactly.
There's not going to be a podcast episode where that's just not going to happen while I'm on it. So it's a tradition a tradition at this point.
Yeah.
But X2 2.0 was just out there in terms of the games under their umbrella. That I believe 2.5 was their attempt of bringing it closer to what they
where they want it to be, basically.
To what they know. That comes with upsides and downsides and a very polarized fan base. So, yeah. And they show power creep. Just like one last thing. It's also important to not power creep too fast, because if you do, you make the previous product pretty redundant, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to touching on the power creep thing, because I didn't really chime in on, where I would draw the line. If I'm not having fun anymore, it's just really where I walk away. I've taken more breaks from recently. I'll be honest. Like, I've been playing this Imperialist that I am so good with, and I win so much with. I'm very fortunate that I've found something I have fun with, that I've had success with. But it's gotten to the point where I just I'm not really, when I bring it, I'm like, here we go again, another just going through the motions. I'm not really enjoying it. Like, I'm gonna bring it to Worlds, but I've felt the need to take some intermittent breaks from playing here and there just to keep myself fresh. Because I do feel like I'm seeing a lot of, I'm playing a lot of similar things, or playing against a lot of similar things. And, I'm still having fun, but it's, once you don't have any fun anymore, that's when you kind of have to walk away. At least for me.
In this in between time, I've been trying new things. I've been playing extended lists, honestly, just to shake it up a bit.
Standard's gotten a little boring. I don't know. There's a lot of choices, but it's just like Manny said, I have components to play the other factions, and I'm like, but none of this is good compared to all these standard loadout cards that I could use.
I mean, I think it's going to get shaken up again before Worlds with the Battle of Endor over Endor for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it'll
only
be
for two factions, right?
Yeah, right. So more people might play. I'd be surprised if a drastic shift to everybody playing Empire and Rebels, but there will be more people than
I don't
initially
think it's
planned.
Drastic, but it's gonna. I mean, it's exciting me just because I have to practice against Soontir or with or I'd like to get these ships on the table just to figure them out, because you're gonna see them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the standard loadout cards are, so here's something I really like to hammer home in terms of we need new players in this game, and we need more new players, and to continue that pattern of adding people into the community, the great community that is X-Wing. And I think outside of the complaints about there just being too much good stuff on one pilot, there is a way too much to keep track of with these new SL cards. It's it's absolutely ridiculous how much
there's 5 Darth Vaders. I'm just
people are gonna have to pause their games to read their pilots to be like, what can I do here? Because there's 18 different things I can do here for one pilot.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the initial, when they talked about they created the standardized cards for new players, I'm gonna call hokum on that right now. That these are not for new players. These are for players who are veterans and really understand the game. Because even for me, it's a lot, and it's I mean, honestly, I think that these cards are for us, are for competitive players who have,
which is so funny, because I don't think that's what they're intending, though.
Really? That's exactly what I think.
You think that they want people to buy the scenario packet and play it at home. I don't think they're trying to make this for the competitive players only.
Well,
no, I didn't say only. I didn't say competitive players. I said
the veteran. Oh, sorry. To me, a veteran player is somebody that plays the game seriously and plays a lot because they've been playing it for a long time.
I know. So
sure. But it's for people who know how a B-Wing flies, and then when you say, hey, look at all these crazy linked actions you can do.
Yeah,
look at all this, cool stuff,
I get that.
Oh, This is different. This is special.
Like, man, streaming these games, like streaming games with this stuff, I'm like, I have what's going on? Why is this person spending a charge to remove a red and orange token at the same time? Why are they rolling a die randomly in the middle of activation? Like, all it's just like, it's even just covering it from a commentary perspective. It's like I have to go over and reread the card over and over again because I can't memorize this stuff. It's so much to keep track of.
Like, when we're doing commentary, or for anyone's doing commentary, there's going to be a lot of those like, oh, where is that target lock coming from? Oh, right, this ship has a special links.
I have like a bit of a tinfoil hat theory, and please let me know if I'm wrong. But I personally believe that AMG is trying to phase out like build your own list with upgrades for these standard loadout cards. And like not through power creep, but just like, well, if you're not flying these standard loadout cards, then what exactly are you doing? If you are trying to win. Am I wrong, or is that just like a vibe that I'm getting, and it's like it's just me?
I don't think that I have a different take on maybe what's going on.
Because again, I'm gonna like go and point to their to their other games, like to their other like with Shatterpoint and Battlecast Protocol. All other games have kind of revolved around like a standard loadout aspect. And again, with the whole upgrades and like to build your own, they are just not comfortable with that. And case in point, Armada, and how they kind of let that game die, because that is a game that is truly dependent on making your own capital ships, choosing your upgrades, crew, and they just are choosing to no longer support it.
I don't think that it's because that they're uncomfortable people building their own. I think that it is easier for them to just design a product that fits into a current meta, but then also they can design a product that is really good in that like one form to make you buy like that product. It's the only place that you could get like that core set version of Vader. And they can control how good or bad it is by just raising the base points for the pilot score skill. Is that they wouldn't be able to sell a core set unless they put in like a whole brand new upgrade or something. So by packaging it together on one card, they don't have to like create a new game component. They can take existing game components, cost it effectively, and then now make
but from a list building perspective, like I can't really play the customizable Tomax because he's just so much more neutered now than the standard one. Like
but
the new wedge over the build your own Soontir, old Soontir, makes way for the new Soontir. It's just such a extending pattern now. The Arc 170s over the build your own Arc 170s.
No, I mean,
why would you ever fly customizable Luke or Darth Vader, right?
In the future, I mean, all you have to do, I will say that right now, because the other Darth Vaders are so good, there's no reason why the build your own needs to be 1 point. You could make that 1 point lower, like a 6 point.
True, but I don't see them changing that anytime soon.
But they could. I mean, they could raise the points. If Luke goes up 1 point for the Battle of Yavin, Luke goes up 1 point. Now he's unplayable. Now you want to build the. Now you have to grab the the build your own.
That's true. Like they're able to, but I see no evidence that they have a desire to.
Well, I mean, they're also pretty new, but I don't think that the core. I mean, who knows what's going on with their game design or what they're thinking, but I don't feel that the standardized cards are coming from a place that they don't like the build your own aspect. I think it's more of that it's an easy way for them to make a pilot and a ship very good, but in a very controlled way.
I mean, I will happily say that I'm wrong when they release a new upgrade card.
or a pilot that isn't standardized. Like that's
true.
I mean, outside of the YT.
I will be the first one to admit.
Just a couple months ago, though, they came out with the Hot Shots and Aces.
That was still
a couple months ago. That was a lot. No, that was an FFG. That was an FFG product that had AMG's name on it. That was a long time ago now. Believe it or not.
I mean, if they come out with another Hot Shots and Aces pack, then
that would be great. And
it's true. I will happily say I'm wrong on this podcast in a future episode. But I mean, I'm just looking at what we have right now and what's likely going to happen in the future. I'm just like, I just don't see it in the realm of possibility. I will be more than happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, happily eat pro.
This is the drawback of like coming out with like something new, like this these talents that are stapled on these pilots now, like True Grit from like the Bomber pack. Like you can put True Grit on that one bomber, and it has like that ability. It's easy to control, because if you come out with the True Grit talent card and everybody can use it, that's harder for, or it's easier for that to become broken and to price it,
yeah, and I think it shows
when any pilots can take it.
Yeah, and I think it shows that is actually like a pretty damning part about this, is that these cards are balanced around the scenario and not the competitive game. At least like that's where their priorities lie in terms of balancing.
Well, I mean the bomber packs are balanced around the competitive game.
I don't know. I feel like we're just talking in circles at this point, but
yeah, we kind of are.
Yeah, it's They said that they believe that that list building is an important feature of the game of X-Wing, and that they recognize the value of it. Hold on.
Oh yeah, okay.
When they said that, and at the time we had more recent product that kind of affirmed that belief. I don't feel it as much now with more recency bias. It seems like that's skewing the other direction. My Imperial list now has 4 out of 5 of my pilots are standardized. I don't love that. It's easier in terms of cleanup and setup. Sure, that's great. Yeah. Awesome. Good. Great. But like, it's not what I need. Like, I only want to play stuff that's easy to put on the table. Like, no, it's okay. I can spend 2 minutes grabbing my components.
Building your own ships is a lot of fun. I mean, that's why I don't feel that this is something that is going to go away, because they know, I know, I would feel that the designers would also feel that is a very fun aspect and what people like to do.
I do hope so.
And if you play Resistance and FO, you have to build your own lists.
Well, yeah, true, but
you could have choice.
They definitely have like some favorites, at least among Rebels and Empire. Yeah. I mean, again, I'd like to be proven wrong. I guess we'll see soon. Adepticon's coming up, so we should be hearing about some new product, right? Yeah,
and if we don't, then we'll have a different conversation. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic.
Abandoned ship. Go ahead, a new hobby, new community.
Oh, come on. Heroes of the Artillery Cluster is very fun, and also I would say that the X-Wing community.
I'm the crazy homeless guy just shouting out, "The end is near."
You and all of Reddit.
It's impressive that you're. It's impressive that you're podcasting without any. I don't know what kind of power outlet situation you got, but good for you. You found a place. Manny is casting from a subway right now.
I was gonna say, I mean, like our last week's episode too. Like the X-Wing community is so strong and right now that I'm not worried that anything would. That it would be, the entire collapse of the game in the near future if they didn't come out with anything new.
Yeah, hopefully. But here's like the advantage of like being a skeptic. Either you're pleasantly surprised, or you're right,
or your expectations are met because you're a skeptic. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess I won't go into it, but you mentioned Adepticon, Manny. That is coming up, everybody. I believe the last chance qualifier is now sold out, March 20th through the 24th in Schaumburg at the Renaissance Hotel. That is where Worlds will be for X-Wing. Andrew and I and a few other of our locals will be there. Come and say hi. You'll see us in our Worlds 2024 Chicago shirts with the skyline and the X-Wing flag, the patented, not really patented design that we have. Very proud of it. Is there any last words, guys, before I sign us off here?
I'm good.
I was gonna say, really excited. Hopefully, by the time this podcast comes out, people will be able to get and play Battle Over Endor, and I'm looking to get in a game or two of the scenario because it looks fun.
Yeah, it might be as late as March 15th, according to Asmodee. But if people get it early, we'll definitely we'll start to see people post pictures. So, yeah, I want to thank our continued partner Strata Strike, who creates incredible gaming components on Etsy, including amazing components like wood template trays, objective tokens, and more for X-Wing. You can use discount code 312 Squadron. That's 312 capital S and then lowercase QUADRON for 15% off your entire purchase for anything on their Etsy store. Be sure to follow us on Twitch to catch us live. You can catch our edited content on YouTube. You can like us on Facebook. Jump into the conversation directly with us in our Discord. And I want to thank you for watching, and especially for our patrons. And sorry, I'm going to edit this part. This part here. Let's do this again. Yeah. I also want to thank all of our patrons who have supported us. A lot of them get exclusive edited content, and these unedited live stream sessions posted exclusively to them and early. I just want to give a shout out to our patrons: Kevin. I want to give Mike, David, Dean, Digikind, William, Dale, Matthew, Adam, Brendan, Michael, Justin, Mark, John, Joshua, Daniel, Alex, Steven, Matt, Peter, Andrew, and Scott. Thank you all for keeping us going. It really, really helps us a lot. We really do appreciate it. To everyone that listens to our podcast and watches our streams and is just a part of the community, we do appreciate it greatly. Thank you all so much. My name is Nick Sperry.
I'm Andrew Kuba.
And I'm Emmanuel.
Thanks, guys, for listening. Thank you all.
And have a wonderful day.
Good night or day.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a fun one.
That was a good one. Yeah, it's an extended episode. Lambolo, thank you so much for the $100 donation. Thank you.
Wow.
Very, very sweet of you. It's the second time he's done that in the last month. Sorry I didn't get to verbally say anything.
That's incredible.
Yeah, very, very kind.
Recording?
That's almost our hosting fees right there.
Recording?
During the stream here that I have up.
Oh.
What was chat? I know that
I totally would have kept up with chat if I had known.
This was
Well, it's a distraction in the sense that it's like you kind of can't really break that fourth wall of talking to the chat during the podcast recording, because it just doesn't work. But
I appreciate it.
I was responding, typing. Yeah. But thank you, Lambolo. Appreciate it. Do not have a level. Yeah. Well, we don't want to go above a $20 tier because that's a little too much money, I think. So, but you could any tier. We got some cool swag for you.
Except $100 sim tier. You get nothing other than our appreciation.
I can't give you a level. I do appreciate that, but Lambo, I really don't want you to give me $100 a month. I want you to save some of that money. It's very kind, but we don't worry about that. It's very sweet of you.
Yeah, use that on a trip to come out to Worlds and say get a chance to.
He'll be there. Lambo will be there. So
great, awesome.
I'll have some good stuff, some swag for him for all the generous support he's given us. Thanks to the folks who were in the chat and watching. Hi, Josh, by the way. That's okay, Josh. It's okay. You did donate enough money to get the light kit for this AT-AT behind me, Josh. So that's okay. Nick, tell Andrew hi for me. Hi, Andrew, from Josh.
Aw, yeah. Tell him I say hi back.
He can hear you, so he.
Great, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hello.
They can hear you. Yeah.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. All right, you guys. That was a good episode. Covered a lot. It's a big topic to discuss for sure. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you, Andrew and Manny, for jumping on again, doing this a day early before we usually do this on Wednesdays.
No, I'm actually. Thank you for accommodating me, because I'm the reason why we're doing it a day early.
Yeah. Hey, and if you can do it early, it's great.
We have the dental trade show coming up this weekend, the Chicago Midwinter Dental Trade Show that I'm going to be at.
Yes, no problem. Got it.
Yeah.
Doing dental stuff.
Dental marketing.
All right. Well,
Fun.
I'll see you all very soon. We'll be streaming again tomorrow. We have our league playoffs, semifinals. It'll be so Euro Trash versus actually no, sorry, not Euro Trash. It's Range 3 Obstructed versus Course Rough and Irritating semifinals. These names are amazing. All right. Appreciate you all.
Yep.
All right.